Becky. Look at that subwoofer's magnet. It is so big. It looks like one of those rap guys subwoofers.
That's like sticking a 20-pound magnet in a 5-pound bag.
What's up, fellas? Glad we're back this week. I got another good one for you guys. Super popular sub, one of the all-time favorites, the Sundown SA. Now, this is the version 2 12-inch dual 4-ohm. So, really beefy sub. It's got a super hard center cone dust cap, stiff surround with 19 millimeters of excursion, and the basket gasket is hard plastic. It's not rubber. Looks super nice. I'll put a link to this sub in the description if you want to check it out with the lowest price that I found. But super beefy. Here's the weight. It comes in at 33.5 pounds. So it's hard for the camera to do it justice. You can see it has lots of venting around the top plate for the voice coil. Nice Sundown magnet bumper right there. Double flat tinsel leads. Those are huge, which is common for Sundown. But we have little tiny, like single 10 gauge push terminals. That's going to be really hard to even get dual 12 gauge in there to jump it. So I wish they would put larger terminals on these. But looks super nice. You can see the bottom plate is chrome, lots of venting down there. And this is the version 2. So this is 1,000 watt RMS with a 2 3/4 inch voice coil. Again, 19 millimeters of excursion. Super nice sub. Here's the TS parameters I pulled. Now these are pre-break-in, so the TS parameters will change a little bit, especially the FS will drop quite a bit after break-in. Really popular sub. I know a lot of you guys have these. They've been around for a long time. And this is the version 2, but even the version 1, guys seem to love it. A lot of guys say it's just a tight, kind of a clean bass. Super tight, accurate, clean sounding bass compared to like something like an X that's kind of warm and doesn't quite have the punch or the slap. So let's go ahead and see. Let's get this thing hooked up. Check it out. We'll do an SPL test at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, fellas, we got it hooked up and we are running this in a 2 cubic foot box tuned to 34 Hertz with 25 square inches of port area. So it's pretty much spot on to the general factory specs that Sundown lists. I say general because you can't always go by those, as far as it just depends on what you want. So keep in mind the specs are just a general idea. Sometimes you might want to go more port area, more net volume, but this box is pretty spot on to what they say. So we're going to run it on the trustworthy Smart 5 bass, even though that's too much power. We're going to keep an eye on things with the SMD and kind of see what power we're doing. I'm going to kind of go up on the power and down on the power so you guys can see what it's doing at a higher wattage and also how it's reacting to lower wattage. And if you guys hear any rattling, it's not the sub bottoming out. It's stuff rattling in the box actually bouncing around. This thing's got some flex for 19 millimeters. And again, that's not the sub bottoming out. That's stuff rattling in here. This sub actually has a ton of flex and it hasn't bottomed out once since I've used it, which is typical of Sundown. Look at that thing. Dude, this thing's a beast. Wow. Sounding good, man. really enjoying how this thing sounds. It's doing good even on lower power when I turn it down. And even when I crank it, it's not getting stinky or anything. So it's definitely handling good power. It has like a nice clean bass sound. And again, this thing is not bottoming out. It's just stuff rattling. Look at the excursion. It's almost like I think it's going over its 19 millimeters, but it's still not even bottoming out. And look, I have the power down and it's still doing really good on low power. So this is a really efficient sub, but it can also take a lot of power. Dang, man. Sub is sounding good. All right, now let's do some sweeps. Woo! All right, so I'm going to start low, which I always do, so we can see how low of a frequency each subwoofer will hit. So it's doing pretty good at 20. It really kind of comes alive right about 28, 30. All right, let's do some dB runs, see what we get out of it. Well, there you go, guys. 140.44. Not bad at all. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to cruise around with this for about a week. Put it through the paces, listen to all different kind of music. But, man, I'm real impressed so far. It does have a real nice, kind of like clean, accurate sound. Like some guys call it tight bass, you know, where it's not really soft and warm. It's more like tight and slappy and punchy. And again, this thing did not bottom out at all. It was just stuff rattling, which Sundown stuff usually never does. Like, they give a lot of extra leeway before the sub will actually bottom out. And it did really good on low power, as you saw, and when I pumped it up. So it definitely handles more than 1,000 watts, which you guys know. A lot of guys run these on, 2,000-3,000 watts with impedance rise. They do great. But let me go ahead and cruise around. We'll go back to the shop, and I'll give you guys the final verdict on this Sundown SA 12 version 2. All right, well, I cruised around for about a week with this sub in my truck, listening to all types of music, and I'm very impressed with this sub. It is a very nice sounding subwoofer that has a nice, clean, tight, accurate sound. It lacked a little bit on the lows compared to some of the other subs down in like the 20 hertz and 25 hertz, but it still played it. It just wasn't as prominent. But as soon as it kind of came around to about 30 hertz, 28 hertz, it started coming alive. Some of that's to do to the box, but just in this scenario, that's what I noticed. But super clean, tight, accurate bass, whether you're listening to rock or bass music. Like, it was just crisp and tight and accurate. Hit the lows pretty good. Sounded great. And I even tried it in a bigger 2.75 cubic box, and I didn't notice any gains. So it's nice that this sub sounds so good, in a small 2 cubic foot box, if you're cramped for space. So if you guys like the content, man, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. Hit that notification button to stay tuned for more videos. But yeah, great subwoofer. It did good on low wattage, did good on high wattage, never bottomed out, never got stinky, which is just Sundown quality. My only complaint are those tiny push terminals. They're not even big enough for me to get just two 12-gauge wires in for the jumper. But other than that, sounds awesome. Nice, clean, accurate sub. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.